Andreas Nicholas Lauda, aka Niki Lauda, is an Australian-born Formula 1 three-time world champion and airline entrepreneur. Lauda was known and loved within the sport for many years. He started racing with a Mini before grading to a Formula V, a single-seater open-wheel race car at junior level. Niki quickly progressed through the ranks driving both Porsche and Chevron cars, but by the time of the end of the 70s, Niki's career had stalled. He needed a way to the top. In 71, Niki took the biggest risk of all, securing a £30,000 loan against his life insurance, which he bought his way into the March Formula 2 team. As the season began, Niki impressed the March principal Martin Herd so much he was quickly promoted to the Formula 1 team, driving both F1 and F2 cars for March. Even though the F2 car looked strong, the F1 car was struggling. Clay Regazzoni. He was Lauda's teammate at BRM and spoke so highly of the Austrian that Enzo Ferrari had to sign him immediately, and this was it. Niki had a seat. He didn't buy it, it was at a works team and probably one of the best teams on the grid after the resurgence under Luca Di Marzamolo. Niki had made it and now he could concentrate on his driving, and for the first time his world championship. The Austrian quickly repaid Ferrari's faith by taking second place in his debut race for the team. He didn't have to wait long to secure his first race win, as that came 3 races later in the Spanish Grand Prix. Even though Lauda was quick throughout the season, taking 6 consecutive pole positions, a mixture of inexperience and mechanical failures would see Lauda win only once more this season at the Dutch Grand Prix, 4th overall in the Drivers' Championship. 75 was a slow start for Lauda. The car was sluggish and unpredictable through corners, finishing no better than 5th in the opening 4 races. Ferrari introduced the new 312T, which instantly had an impact, Lauda winning 4 of the next 5, and his first championship was confirmed at the Italian Grand Prix in front of the Tifosi. A week before the crash, Niki had protested not to race the German Grand Prix as the Nürburgring was too big and had insufficient emergency staff and vehicles at the track. The drivers voted and the race was to go ahead. In a cruel kind of way, 3 other drivers who voted to race that day would go on to lose their lives in Formula 1 incidents. Tom Price in 77, Ronnie Peterson in 78 and Patrick De Pea in 80. As the 76 German Grand Prix got underway, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. It was just another racing weekend for Lauda and Ferrari, but on the second lap of the first kink before Bergwerk, Lauda lost control of his Ferrari going down the embankment before returning in a ball of flames onto the track and being collected by Brett Lunger's Surtees Ford. Brett stopped at the scene and tried to help Niki, but he was stuck. It took rescuers just under a minute to remove him from the car. He was seriously burnt on his head and his crash helmet had come off in the accident. He had also been breathing in hot poisonous toxins which had caused damage to his lungs and blood. It looked like the Austrian's number was up. He was read his last rites but refused to give up. Niki endured many procedures pushing himself so he could return to his beloved racing, and just 6 weeks remarkably to the shock of the motorsport world, Lauda returned to his Ferrari. Lauda would qualify in 3rd, 1 place behind Hunt. Everything was set for the next day, race day. It was monsoon conditions at the Japanese Grand Prix, but the race got underway. 2 laps into the race, Lauda retired, stating due to his damaged tear ducts and his eyes continuously watering caused by the fire, he felt it was unsafe to continue in these conditions. At the start of the 78 season, Lauda had moved across to Brabham for an impressive salary. This was not to be a good time for Lauda, enduring 2 miserable seasons and being remembered for 1 race, the Swedish Grand Prix, where he raced a radical fan car, but due to protests of the other team, owner Bernie Eccleston withdrew the car for good and it was never raced again. In 79, Lauda had continued with a poor start and that was enough. He had lost his passion for the sport so much that during the Canadian Grand Prix he stopped in practice to inform owner Bernie Eccleston he wanted to retire with immediate effect. This was granted. Lauda returned home to his native Austria where he ran his airline business and later became a pundit for German TV.
Niki, you as a driver, I've always wanted to ask you about coming back out of retirement to race for McLaren and then winning that championship. Is it true that you said, don't pay me very much, just pay me as a PR man, and then if I show how quick I am, then you can start paying me as a race driver again?
No, Ron, Dennis asked me after 2 years not driving if I want to do a comeback. And in the beginning I was not interested because for 2 years I took care of my airline start and really had no interest in Formula One whatsoever. And then I went to the race as a commentator like you do, television, and there was a huge start line shunt. And I looked down and said, oh, this is good. So my whole, you know what I mean, the brain changed. I was ready again to take chances and take risks. And I was amazed by this new development. Then I went to Monza and I saw Watson going off in the Lesmo with a McLaren where he hit so hard that the whole engine and the gearbox just flew away. And again, I thought, pooh, good accident. You know what I mean? The mentality changed. And then Ron called me and said, do you want to try a car? It was a coincidence because he did not know in what stage I was getting to. And then he made me come back. And then I had to negotiate. And the argument from Marlboro were, we do not know how good you're going to be. And then I have to say they gave me a contract for 3 races and another 3 races. And if you do not drive properly, then the contract is finished after 3 races. So I said, fine, do that. And the 3rd race I won. So contract then was the whole year. And then the year after, I had to renegotiate and said, now you have to pay for driving.
So what are you saying, Niki, that the risk was one of the triggers that went off in your mind?
When you've been driving for so long before with Ferrari and my whole career, I came to an end because I was bored. There was no challenge. It was only painful and the motivation was gone. Very simple. And then I retired. And then I was for 2 years not interested at all. I didn't even watch the races. And then suddenly the what you have in your body, I don't know how I want to call it, it came back. And when it came back, I went again. So I wanted to come back and prove to myself, after 2 years not driving, can you do that? And as I won the 3rd race, I think I did a good job.
Well, did you do a good job? That was the understatement of the year. Very fast, very meticulous, very good at driving opening laps as well and staying out of trouble and planning a race. That was the Niki Lauda signature.
The problem was in 84, this was the stupid turbocharged engines where you had for one lap 1,200 horsepower and for the race 600 because you could turn the boost up and then the boost down again to have the fuel limitation. And I hated this system. So therefore I didn't really like these stupid engines, and therefore Alain out-qualified me all the time. So in the first race he was 5/10 quicker. I thought, what's going on here? Then I improved my speed, he was 3/10 quicker. And this went on through the whole season. So I had to change my strategy. I said I'm gonna work for the race. And then I had the tires sorted out, the balance was right and whatever, so I could win the championship.
Thank you very much, Niki.
Pleasure.
After proving himself in 82, Lauda had a tough season in 83 as McLaren transitioned from Ford Cosworth to tag-branded Porsche engines. Lauda would not pick up a single victory this season. His best finished 2nd and pushed for the new car to be brought forward so the new engine could be tested properly. This was granted and Lauda almost took the win in the last Grand Prix of South Africa. In 84, Lauda did it, winning his 3rd world title by half a point over Prost, due to half points being awarded at the shortened Monaco Grand Prix of 84. He was also able to become the only Austrian to win his home Grand Prix. After his retirement, Niki would continue to work in the sport, becoming a consultant for Ferrari, working as a team manager at Jaguar Formula One and progressing on to be a non-executive chairman of Mercedes-AMG Petronas Motorsport, helping them to sign Lewis Hamilton and taking 6 drivers and constructors championships in a row, dominating the hybrid area and truly will be one of the motorsports powerhouses for many years. As a McLaren fan, I would like to say thank you to Niki for his commitment to the team, which paved the way for Prost and Senna to be successful. He was a great man in and out of the sport and will be sadly missed by millions around the world. Unfortunately, he did lose his battle on the 20th of May 2019, when teams at the Monaco Grand Prix showed some amazing tributes to the late great Lauda, 3 times world champion. Mercedes paid tribute by painting the halo red on the 2019 car with a special message. Also, they have designated one of the stars on the 2020 car to win by painting it red. I want to end by saying he truly was a great. Thank you, Niki.